My colleague Paul, you obviously have been covering these very, very interesting stories over the years. First of all, what inspired you to do that?
I was inspired by the simple fact that I've seen a lot of young people who are out of the blue come up with these incredible ideas that have turned into something tangible, something sellable on the global market. So what drove me in the first place was wanting to tell the African story. Why should it be about the negative story while there are a lot of Africans who are doing great things? For example, there are a lot of developments that have come out of Africa. The example of M-Pesa in Kenya. That's the #1 export for Kenya right now. Every bank. When I was in Kenya last year, I met a Bank of America executive who was in Kenya to study about M-Pesa. And now I can see they're trying to implement the pay-as-you-go thing on their phones or even using their banking system. So for me, what really drove me was the fact that I could see my own brothers, my own relatives are doing the same thing, quitting their jobs and starting small businesses, and they're successful businesses. They have successful businesses right now, and other young Africans who are doing that largely because of the exposure they are getting through the internet. I think the internet has played a big role in as far as Africa is concerned, in a sense that you have a lot of people who see ideas. Let's say somebody in Nigeria is doing something and they want that same idea to work in their own country. So they look at the idea and repurpose it for their own village. So that's really what's happening on the continent. Young people taking charge. Young people saying that, we can no longer afford to sit back and watch. Because our governments can't employ us, what are we going to do? We have to come up with our own ideas, and that's why I'm doing what I do.
In fact, I was going to ask you next, from what you have seen, from what you have learned, I know that you have been to the western part of the continent, you've been to Central Africa, you've been to East Africa, and some parts of Southern Africa. What seems to be the key motivating factors here? What is really the common denominator?
The common denominator is the simple fact that a lot of young people are unemployed. They are looking for alternatives. They are looking for ways to contribute to society. They are coming up with solutions to solve their own problems. So, and the other thing is that they want to make some money. At the same time, be good community, play a big role in the community. So most of these people who are coming up with these great ideas, it's largely because they are trying to solve a problem. And if you look here, even people who have been very, very successful here are people who try to solve problems. The people who come in for purposely to make money, they end up running out of the business because eventually it doesn't work out. But if you go in with a mission of solving a problem, chances are that you're going to succeed. And most of the innovations that are coming out of Africa, most of the entrepreneurs that I've seen on the continent, they're trying to solve something.
There has always been a lack of jobs, in fact, in society or in countries and stuff like that. Why is it that, at least this time around, frankly, young people seem to be reacting differently? Is it perhaps because of the proliferation of social media? Is it because of fiber optics, satellite, and what have you? Because most of my generation, we are basically beneficiaries of what would be called the Gutenberg factor, the printing press. You have to have the skills of reading and writing, but now kids can actually just interact with whatever is happening around the globe.
Most of the above, what you say is partly leading to that creativeness, largely because you have people of your generation, obviously, are not risk takers. Young people today,
what do you mean? We are not risk takers. How did I come to America?
Maybe at the time you did, but most people are not risk takers. But when you look at the kinds of risks that I'm talking about, is somebody starting something before you inherited a business. But now people are saying, you know what, I don't want to inherit a business. I want to create my own business. And that's what's driving these people. You also have governments that have built an enabling system to help these young people who have ideas come to the forefront and sell their ideas. And that's also helping the young generation. Obviously, we cannot underestimate the role played by the social media or the internet. I think that's the biggest contribution that has happened to Africa. Whoever came up with internet or the social media, I think they could not have done a better job. When it comes to that, that's the one thing that has really ushered in, it has opened up Africa. It has lightened Africa to an extent that people interact. They see a story in Nigeria, they want to replicate it in Ghana, they want to replicate it in Uganda, and that's what's driving these young people.
Very interesting.